Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the September 12th City Council meeting. Roll call, please.
Barkley.
Here.
Walters. Rardon.
Here.
Ewert. Here. Benner.
Here.
Parton.
Here.
Crum.
Here.
Thompson.
Here.
Invocation will be given by John Meadows.
All right, let us pray. Lord, we thank you for this new season we're in, and we thank you that you came to this world in the right season to bring us into your presence. I ask that your Holy Spirit be with every man and woman in this room. Help them make every good decision that needs to be done. Let your voice be heard and reason. And we just give you the praise and the glory and the honor for this. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next we have the minutes of August 8th. Councilman Benner.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes of the August 8th business meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of August 8th. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley.
Yes.
Rardon.
Yes.
Ewert.
Here. Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Parton.
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next, item 1, citizens to be heard. One, Brad McAfee for Living History Rendezvous.
Brad McCaffrey.
Sorry.
My Irish ancestors just rolled over a little bit, so I have to correct it. I don't care how you spell it, but you probably didn't say it right. I'm Brad McCaffrey. Over last, I don't know, man, it's been a long time, 8 or 9 years that we've put on the camp at Riggs Park for the 1800s, 1840 Living History Rendezvous. I guess I'm here to beg, bargain, or get permission to borrow Riggs Park one more time for maybe the last finale. It all depends on how we do. We typically have to pay for the insurance to go to that event, and our coffers are bare. Last year, for anybody that hasn't been to it, and a lot of you haven't, we cater to children. Both of my children are school teachers in this district, and they'll tell you that there's no way you can teach history. The best way to teach it is in person, one person. In this room, let's look at the evolution of the cell phone, or the evolution of the computer, or how many presidents have all of you lived through. So I asked my son, well, where do you start teaching history? And he says, I rely upon people like you. So you come to my camp and I give you a little bit of history about why, if it wasn't for men like me, we'd be speaking Spanish or French right now. And most people don't understand that. And that's a true fact statement because of the beaver. So last year we had 815 school kids come to our camp on Friday. 815 children from anywhere from infant size to high schoolers. And they sit down, and the way we base our camp is everyone in my camp is, we do a Rocky Mountain College. So some of our era may not be politically correct or historically accurate, where I may have a woman that's wearing Nike tennis shoes because she's got bad ankles and she's sitting in a Coleman chair, but she will tell those people, I'm doing it this way. So that no child goes back and realizes that the Indians had coolers in their teepees, and they had Chihuahua dogs, and they drank Dr. Pepper out of a bottle. We tell them up front, this is not right, but we tell them the rest. 815 school kids. I'd sure like your permission to use your park again. Now, if you're gonna need dates, because I've got so many that run through my head, November 3rd through the 6th. So November 3rd would be the date that we set up. That's gonna be on a Thursday. Friday, we're in active camp. Saturday, we're in active camp. And Sunday, we go home. Any questions?
Councilperson Parton.
If there's none, I'd make a motion we allow them to use it for the Living History Rendezvous that weekend.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilman Barkley.
How long have you been doing it?
You know, it's a good question, but I'm gonna say 10 or 11 years.
I was gonna say, I thought it'd been more than 10.
And we've always left your park better than Oktoberfest. And most people never know that we've ever even been there. That's what the impressive thing is even Randy comes through and he's like, man, he says, I wished everybody picked up trash, and he goes, you guys, we found it.
I agree.
But
You bring
I cater to you guys, even old people. Come to our camp and just visualize and see what it's like. It's pretty impressive, especially when you've got Abe Lincoln walking around. And 2 years ago, one of the little school kids asked Abe, because we all know that children are resilient and they ask the craziest questions, right? And there's never a dumb question. And this little girl asked Abe, President, what's your favorite movie? And old Abe, he thought for about 5 seconds, and he had his hands behind his back, and he says, well, Mama doesn't let me go to the theater anymore. That's just one of those deals where Steve is very first person, and you really owe it to yourselves to come through at least one time just to get a case study. But I'll leave you to it. You'll never forget my name again.
That's right, I will.
All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Question, please.
Thank you.
Barkley.
Yes.
Barton.
Yes.
Ewert. Yes. Benner.
Yes.
Harton.
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next item 2, approval of licenses and bonds. We have none. Item 3, introduction of ordinances and resolution. A, ordinance adopting the city planning commission recommendations to deny a request for rezoning certain real estate located within the city of Haysville, Kansas. Jonathan?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. On August 11th, the Planning Commission held a public hearing to consider a zone change on property located at Lot 1, Block 8, Peachwood, 9th Edition. No motion was approved by Planning Commission, so by state statute, it is a recommendation of disapproval. You may take one of the following actions. Approve the Planning Commission's recommendation by ordinance by simple majority of 5 votes. Deny the Planning Commission's recommendation by a supermajority vote of 6 votes, or you can return the recommendation to the Planning Commission to further review and explanation by a simple majority of 5 votes. The staff report is in your packet for review, and this is now before you for your consideration.
All right, thank you. So, as Jonathan mentioned, the approval was denied for this property. And there, as he mentioned, there are 3 options we could do: either approve, deny, or approve with the simple majority, deny with the approve with the simple majority, deny with a super majority. Simple majority to approve, super majority to deny, or to return the recommendation back to Planning Commission. My recommendation is to return it back to Planning Commission because they did not specify why they're denying this zoning request. And there were 2 different votes: one to deny it, which got disapproved, and one to approve it, which got disapproved. Councilman Crowe?
Yeah, after looking at the minutes, it looked like it was like tied 4-4 both times, and so actually I like 3 as well. And so I'm gonna make a motion that we send it back to planning and ask them to reconsider or give us the rationale for denying the request.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to send it back to planning, to look it over again and to inform council on their recommendation. Any discussion? Councilman Barkley?
I apologize, but can someone tell me where the specific property is again?
This is the one south of Casey's on the east side of Meridian.
Okay. And so we're voting
To send it back to Planning Commission to review it and to tell us why they are denying it. Because there are 8, in your packet you'll see 8 different golden rules, and none of them were addressed. Starting on your packet, it's page 13.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Question, please.
Barkley.
Yes.
Barton.
Yes.
Ewert.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Harton.
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you. I did forget to mention, but the applicant was in the audience, Mr. A roof, I'm sorry.
May I speak?
No, you don't need to. I mean, it's being sent back to planning commission, unless there's something you want to.
Yeah, just briefly, if I may. Good evening, folks. This is my first time developing a property outside Wichita. I had erroneously assumed that this would not be an issue. Obviously, I was wrong, and had I known this would have been a matter of some discussion, I would have been here. And I appreciate the fact that you've sent it back, and I'd like to have some idea of objections so I may address it properly when this is being discussed. I just like an opportunity to see what they are, so I can see the merits of their objection and possibly mitigate those objections. And that's all I have to say. Thank you kindly.
Thank you. All right, next we have B, an ordinance an ordinance rezoning real property located within the city of Haysville, Kansas, and amending the official zoning map or maps of the city to reflect such amendment, all pursuant to the zoning regulation of the city. Jonathan?
On August 25th, the Planning Commission held a public hearing to consider a zone change from AA single family to single family and B 2, 3, and 4 family on the property located west of the South Meridian Avenue and south of the West Grand Avenue in Haysville. The Planning Commission is recommending approval of this zone change. You may again take one of the following 3 actions to either approve it, to deny the Planning Commission's recommendation, or to return it back for them. And the staff report is also in your packet for you to review. This is now before you for your consideration.
All right, thank you. And same thing goes, either approve it with a simple majority, disapprove it with a super majority, or send it back. Councilman Barkley?
So, the last one and this one, but especially this one, is what me and Councilman Danny Walters have heard a ton back from. 100% against from everybody in Ward 4. 0% for. Nobody wants multifamily dwellings in the space. So for representatives, I feel like that's the way you gotta vote.
You good? Councilman Bitter?
I attended the public hearing for this zone change request. And just to summarize what I came away with from the public hearing, there were 3 concerns. One was had to do with school overcrowding, making that existing problem worse, and concerns about safety along Meridian. Presumably, if there were more multifamily dwellings in the area, then the concerns with safety and with the children walking to school would be worse, would exacerbate that problem. Although it seemed to me that we were concerned about that as long as we were talking about multifamily dwellings. I didn't hear that concern when we were talking about single-family dwellings. So that was just the impression that I came away with. The second thing that was concerning was the property value impact of surrounding properties, and the third thing was a increase in crime and vandalism. So I understand all of the concerns. What I'd like to see, since there's been such public response opposed to this zoning change, the thing that I'd like to see that I haven't seen is any kind of data to support the claims. On one hand, we have everybody saying that this is going to detrimentally impact my property value, and my property value will go down, something such as that, and that there'll be an increase in crime or vandalism. And I understand that those are widely held precepts. I'd like to see some data about that. If they're that widely held and that widely known, it should be pretty easy to show that. As far as property value goes, I've tried to do some research myself. I have not found any data that explicitly shows that. I know what our appraised property values are, And I would imagine if I asked for a show of hands in the room tonight about who has property value that has diminished over the last 20 years for any reason, I doubt if there'd be anybody's hands go up. We have an area here, River Forest, where there were some multifamily homes built a few years ago, and I know what the appraised property values have done in that area since then, and none of them that I can tell have gone down as a result of multifamily dwellings being in the near vicinity. And if I drove over there and looked at them this week, they don't appear to be junky or in shambles, or they don't have kicked-in screen doors and things like that. They're well kept. So I'm not taking one side or the other here. I'm saying I'd like to see some data. We don't have that right now. Same is true for the idea of increased vandalism and crime in areas that have a higher percentage of rentals than there are of owner occupancy. I don't know if there's any data to that effect or not. I would think if there is, that it would be pretty easy to represent. So my whole issue with this is if anyone is going to make a claim about property values and increased crime as a result of this kind of housing going in, I'd like to see some data that supports that.
Councilman Crum?
I was just gonna say that every time the city's done any kind of a survey since the 80s or the 90s, and up until now, almost everything, the very top thing is that we need more businesses. The way you get more businesses is you have more people. And the way you get road improvement from the county or however, you have to show you have numbers on traffic counts. So if we have new houses, multifamily or otherwise going over there, our traffic count's gonna go up, maybe the county will come down. We may not get a 4-lane road, but maybe we'll get a 3-lane road with a turn lane in the middle. If this is already on the west side of Grant, so walking shouldn't be an issue to school because those kids, all those schools are on the west side of the road already, so they wouldn't have to cross the street. And we've already got the sidewalk over there. We're getting ready to put a sidewalk on the other side too, but they wouldn't have to cross Grant because they're already on the side that their school would be on. And I'm gonna agree with Mr. Benner. I did DoorDash for the last couple of years in the summer and during COVID and stuff, and so many new developments going up in other areas are duplexes. And those areas really look pretty nice. Duplexes aren't like they were 30 years ago. Now you find people that are living in duplexes, the rent is like it's almost like a mortgage payment. So you've got young professionals or young couples that are together that are trying to get started before they buy a house. I don't think crime is an issue. I've driven around and looked at the duplexes around here. They don't look bad. And we've got 4 pages of council concerns tonight, and not one single one of those is a duplex. And honestly, I can't remember when we ever had a duplex come on those. So I think a lot of it is the beliefs come from the way duplexes maybe were perceived 20 and 30 years ago, and I think they're still perceived that way, and I don't think that's correct. And I think that it will help bring more people into town. It will also help bring the value of the city up. And that helps us with tax relief, so that we can keep adding services without adding taxes, because we have more of a broad base and the city is worth more. So, and this ordinance come to us recommended to approve it. So, is there any more lights on?
2 more.
Okay, never mind, that's all I have.
Councilman Warden?
Well, I'd just like to interject. I understand people concerned about your housing and the value and all that. But I live on East Grand. I live in Old Oaks. We're getting ready to build 80 duplexes, probably 50, 60 yards from my house. And this came before council and everything else, and we didn't have the concerns and all that stuff and everything. And Cottontail is getting ready to start. Talked to the developer the other day. They seem to be ongoing. So, I mean, I personally, I just kind of don't understand why the big issue. I understand you're worried about your property values and all that, like Mr. Crum said. I understand that, but when we found out where I live, in the area where I live, when we found out that we were getting duplexes, I'm gonna tell you what, everybody took a sigh of relief, because we thought, and the way it was led to believe and everything right off the get-go, was that we were gonna get apartments over there. And I will fight apartments till I'm blue in the face. But we're, like I said, we're getting ready to build 80 duplexes right across the street from where I live. And I don't think that my house, my property, my neighborhood, or anything else is any lower than anybody else. So, I mean, I understand the concerns, but it's just like Councilman Crum said. We want people to come in, we want businesses to come in, they want, what they look at is what they call roofs. In other words, these are houses that are built, houses that people live in. And if we want businesses to come in and we want stuff to grow, then we gotta grow with it. You know, I understand what you're saying, but I personally I cannot oppose this. That's my personal opinions.
Councilman Barkley?
So, I don't know if we've talked to the schools, see if they can handle that. If that's 49 duplexes, is what I understand. I don't know what numbers you can put to that. 100 kids. I don't know if the school can handle that. 40% of our property taxes go to the USD. Everybody's does. Is that going to bring in enough to catch up with it in time? I don't know. I do know that as far as property values, which is what I've had my ear full of from everybody in my neighborhood, just a lot of that. You look over on the other side, on the east side of Haysville, on Carla. So we have Carla Court that was built full of fourplexes. I've talked to those people personally, and they're great people, but those were built a while ago, and they're not upkept after a while. And so are we thinking about 1 year from now, or are we thinking about 10 years from now? 10 years from now, they're not gonna be upkept the right way. They're not gonna be upkept the way that single families would. And so you go one court over. So we got the trailer park, Carla Court, full of duplexes, fourplexes, and then you got the next Carla Court. Those houses should be 300 to 350. There's no way you could sell those for that today. There's no doubt in my mind that those have dropped in value because of the fourplexes, duplexes, trailer park. And then it trickles down to that whole side. Next thing you know, you're selling the old hack for $140,000 to just whoever wants to buy it, and then it becomes a dump heap that we fight for the next who knows how long, because that's not over. All I'm saying is that we're representatives of our people, and the people have said they do not want it there at all. I've not heard one person say, that's a pretty good idea. Let's bring them in here. Like, I've not got one of those emails, not one of those phone calls, not one of those neighbors that came to my house personally. None of it. 0%. I have gotten a lot of it the other way. I'm gonna vote no. I'm just saying it out there. And if you want to represent the people, then I suggest the same. As far as studies go, I mean, government's slow. Government is so slow. Studies take forever. I guarantee if we put a study out, it'd be like 8 years before we actually knew what the impact would be. So that's how I feel about it, and that's how everybody in Ward 4 feels about it that I've heard from.
Good. Councilperson Martin?
I just have a rebuttal on your duplexes. My son, up until 2 years ago, lived in those, and those were well taken care of. They weren't run down. So
Do you think, I'll just say,
They're paying $1,200, $900 to $1,200 a month for those last I knew.
so you can look at either the property tax, or I mowed them. The trash service wasn't kept up, the yards,
You got that
Weren't
everywhere
kept
though.
up.
That's the renters, you
But
got that everywhere though.
if you do a comparison from those to one block over to the single families, that's what I'm saying, is that it does bring down the single family property values.
So you're saying that the east side of Haysville is lower than
Property
the west
values?
side? Yes.
House property values, yes.
Well, we're
Really?
older,
I think so.
we're older. My house, I bought it 24 years ago, has doubled in price.
Well, I believe that.
And I live in a 1954 house.
I believe that my house, 3 years old, has gone up in 30% value.
So how is it going? I don't think they're going down
Janet, what is your property?
until
But you are beside a funeral home and a
Yep.
trailer park,
I
are you
back
not?
up. Yep,
Has your property value gone up or down?
it's going up.
What's your
Well,
appraised
all properties
value
go
down?
up.
Right now is $100,000. I bought it for $48,000 and I just put siding on it, so I'm sure it'll go up again.
My property abuts 2 different mobile home courts and an industrial park. I'm on all 3 sides. And as far as my appraised property value goes, it has done nothing but go up in the last 50 years. It's never gone down. I think, let's not conflate appraised property value and marketability and saleability, which is, in my mind, a much more ambiguous number.
I agree.
If you could, maybe you were talking about studies being slow to come, and I agree with you. Government studies, everything I could find on the internet about property values, adjacent property values being diminished because of multifamily homes or something like that. The nearest thing I could find were studies that were out of the 60s, and we were talking about federal housing, high-rise tenement buildings in inner cities. Nothing even close to what we're talking about here. So I guess what I'm saying is, those kind of studies are kind of worthless when we're comparing properties like your property and like what's being proposed to be built. But I can't believe that there's no data out there, whether it's a government study or not. Are there a real estate professional that could come in and say, hey, I tried to sell Joe Smith's house and I could have got $25,000 more for it, except for the fact that there was a duplex across the street. Had that not been there, property values would have been more. If this kind of knowledge is so common, I just like to see that data or hear that from something, rather than just everybody's got an opinion. I mean, I have one and you have one.
Well, it's pretty easy to say that you could look at a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house anywhere in Haysville, and 10 years ago to today, absolutely it's gonna increase in value. But depending on location and proximity to multifamilies, it would have increased more, is what I'm saying.
I don't know that you can quantify that. That's all I'm saying.
I'm looking at Carla over there by where the duplexes are, right behind the railroad tracks. This house, 106, 106, 106, 109, 113, 116, 121, 127. It's going up.
Yeah, we just went through a boom. What I'm saying is you gotta compare it to what they would have been. I mean,
Would they have been though? Because those, I mean, I don't see,
Would they have been different had they not built the duplexes? That's what we're saying. I mean, that's the question here, right?
yes.
can you quantify that?
1 block away from Carla Court, where the duplexes are, those houses would sell easier and for more if those duplexes weren't there. They look out their backyard and they can wave at them.
I'm just not sure I can quantify that.
I don't either.
So I would put this in the form of a motion. And I don't know if we can do this, maybe this is a better question before I make a motion. Can we, since there doesn't seem to be an objection to single-family homes development, and since this rezoning is kind of a 2-part deal, can we approve the portion of the rezoning that will be relative to single-family dwellings nobody seems to have a problem with that, and postpone or put off the part that's being rezoned and tagged for multifamily dwellings until such a time as we can get a little more facts and data on the crime and actual property value effect.
I'll second
Is that possible to do, or do we have to send it back to PC to have them reevaluate it? I don't know what's proper here.
To get more information, my recommendation is you'd send it back to planning with those specific questions and ask for more information regarding those specific items.
So this may die then for want of a second, but I will make a motion tonight that we send this ordinance for rezoning back to planning commission with specific questions about data regarding property value, crime, and school overcrowding.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to send it back to planning with those specific questions. Is there any further discussion?
Yes.
Councilman Crum?
The last one we sent back because they didn't give us a reason. This one passed. We have the list of golden rules of what should pass, and it was shown, so I don't understand why we'd send it back. We can just pass this with a simple majority, and I don't see a reason to send it back because they gave us, we saw those rules too, the same rules they did. They went through the zoning change like they did, and it came back the way it did in favor of it. So I see no reason to send it back.
The reason I give and support for sending it back, and I was at the meeting, and they did go over the 8 golden rules like they were supposed to quite thoroughly. But the questions I have here are more specific to the objections that were being raised. Those were not discussed in the planning commission meeting. But maybe, I don't know this, they probably know this, they may already have answers to these questions with respect to school overcrowding and property value and crime and vandalism. For all I know, they have data on that I just don't know about. If they don't, then I would still contend that I'd like to investigate that further and see if that kind of data is available before we make this decision.
I guess I understand that you've had a lot of people from I've gotten 3 emails, and honestly, I know at least one of them was for the one on the east side of Grand. I don't know if they were, all 3 of them were, if they were split up. But like I said, every survey we send out, people want businesses. If you want to get businesses here, you got to get roofs and you got to get people here. So as far as I'm concerned, people we aren't hearing from would be supporting this because they want the businesses in town, and this is how you're going to get them. And I don't think they have that data because that data's not out there because it's really not true anymore. It's just a stereotypical thing that's been around for a long time. It's duplexes.
And if that's the case, then that could be the answer.
Councilperson Parton?
Did we have anybody from the public who wanted to speak on this? Maybe they've got the information we're looking for.
The public hearing was on August 25th.
I know,
So
but we had
it's-
some people who signed up, so. I didn't know if they had any insight with research or new numbers.
Well, that'd be something the planning commission would research. All right, so we have a motion and a second to send it back to planning. Any further discussion? Question, please.
Barkley?
Yes.
Burton?
Yes.
Ewert? Yes. Benner?
Yes.
Parton?
Yes.
Crum?
No.
Thompson?
Yes.
All right, next item 3C. An ordinance annexing and incorporating a certain land within the boundaries of the city of Haysville, Kansas. So this is the portion that the city purchased.
This is over by public works.
Yes. Councilman Crum?
I make a motion that we approve an ordinance annexing and incorporating certain land within the boundaries of the city of Haysville, Kansas as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley?
Yes.
Burton?
Yes.
Ewert? Yes. Benner?
Yes.
Parton?
Yes.
Crum?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Next, item 4, notices and communications. A, governing body announcements. Councilman Crum?
Stuff going on at the library. Commissioner Lopez's Citizen Advisory Group will be tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Parents as teacher story time is at 10 o'clock on Wednesdays, 10 o'clock in the morning, and then also at 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. Also at 11 o'clock on Wednesday, no, excuse me, Friday, the 13th, 15th would be Friday, right? Is teacher and toddler time at 11. September 17th is Constitution Day, and if you stop by the library, they've got free little copies of the Constitution. They will also be having a library Constitution Day potluck at noon at the library. And they are doing the free copies of the Constitution, and there's also be some prizes for kids. September 18th through the 24th is Band Book Week. The 21st is the next Lego Club, and this 23rd is Read a Band Book Day. And then 5:30 on the 29th is the next library board meeting, Friends of the Library, and then the regular library board meeting. And then they also have an event, I gotta get it brought up here, called a Stuffed Animal Sleepover. It's actually a sleepover for the stuffed animals. Kids are encouraged to, and adults are encouraged to bring a stuffed animal over to the library Friday, September 16th at 4, with their craft and with their stuffed animal. They'll do a craft. They'll also get a snack and have some other activities. And then the kids all go home. The stuffed animals stay, and then on Saturday morning, they'll come and pick up the stuffed animals, and they'll be shared with them the activities these stuffed animals did on their sleepover. So that's coming over on September 16th. And that's what's going on. That's what's going on at the library. It was funny because it's marketed for kids, but somebody on Facebook wanted to know if adults could come too, and they said yes.
Could they read a banned book while they're there?
That I don't know. They might.
Well, the animals.
That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Any other governing body announcements before I read the senior center announcements? All right, the senior center, Tai Chi, it's a 16-week program that begins tomorrow at September 13th at 1. Donuts with myself on the 14th at 8:30. Dementia specialist presentation is also on the 14th at 1 p.m. Ice cream social, September 16th at 2 p.m. Museum of World Treasures trip with lunch. That's on the September 19th. Bus leaves at 9:30. Computer troubleshooting class, September 20th at 2 p.m. Commodity distribution, September 21st at 1 p.m. Donuts with Haysville PD, September 28th at 8:30 a.m. And the monthly breakfast, September 24th at 10 a.m. $6 a person, and sign up must be by September 22nd. That's the person here.
I just thought of something. This Friday, the 16th, there is no school. It's a school-in service, so no children will be at school.
Thank you.
That's all.
All right, next, item B, Sedgwick County Fire Department, Station 34, monthly report. It's in your packet. And an email from Costa Communication. Item 5, old business, a consideration of bids for repainting the carport. So this was in our packet last month, and you can read through the, everybody should have, information's in your packet for this. That's McCrum.
So the hope is that we're gonna get this all sandblasted and primered, and then we're still in discussion with the art department at campus about coming in and doing the mural.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, picture's been taken of the mural.
Also, they're gonna just redo the same mural that was already up there.
I think they're actually gonna get ideas from some of the students.
Oh, okay.
And then present those ideas.
Okay.
Either way, it's going to be sandblasted and repainted.
Right.
The way I understood it, we supply the supplies and stuff, they do the artwork, right?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Now, they haven't agreed to it.
Huh?
They have not agreed to it, that's just
Right,
what.
I'm just saying.
Right.
If they do. yeah.
I have talked to one of the art teachers, and I know that they are looking at what kind of paint they think they're gonna need and stuff. So I think they're they're pretty sure they've got a group that's excited about doing it, and so if they just follow through, then it'll probably get done. But yeah, they've got to verify.
Yeah. Well, I talked to Ms. Swinger about it, so she was like on board or something.
Yeah.
Anybody like to make a motion? Councilperson Parton?
I make a motion, we approve the bid for Myers Painting to sandblast the walls, prime and paint both sides of the carport and the boats.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Hebert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crown,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next we have old business. I'm sorry. Item 6, other business. A consideration of temporary special event permit application for the Fall Festival Beer Garden. So we also need to have a public hearing for this, for the waiving of the distance requirements.
Did it change?
I'm sorry,
Did it change?
did the distance change?
Yeah.
I thought we'd done something on this, so we didn't have to go to
The difference on this one is the area that was called out in our city code is a small area kind of to the east,
Oh,
not the
now they're-
entirety of the raised area in front of the band shell. And what they're requesting, as you see in the map, is the entire area. And I know on the application it says the pre-approved area, but what they're actually requesting is basically the entirety of the hill in front of the band shell there, as
Did we-
shown on the map.
Did we do this for party in the 060?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Also on the, there's a memo saying 2 entrances, but on the map it shows 3, so
Yeah,
I believe it's gonna be 3. So I'll go and open up the public hearing. I have a script to go off of. I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing related to waiving the distance requirement for the sale of cereal malt beverage. Councilman Parton.
So moved.
Second.
Whatever you said.
We have a motion and a second to open the public hearing. Any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Hebert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crown,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, we are now formally open for the public hearing. Have any council members had any outside contact regarding this matter? If so, please indicate who you have spoken with and the nature of the conversation. Seeing none. Do any members of the council have a conflict of interest in this matter? If so, please disqualify yourself from further action on the city council for this case. You may choose to speak as a member of the public. Has the city received any written or electronic communication on this matter? If so, please describe. None? Now's the time for any member of the public to speak. You have 3 minutes if you are presenting good factual information. This time may be extended by council vote. Please state your name and your address first. Is there any member of the public wish to speak on this? See none? Any questions from the public, from the council? No questions from the council to the public? I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Make motion to close the hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Public hearing is now closed.
Would you like me to take the vote?
Yes, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Hebert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crown,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do we need to look at changing the area approved? Since this is now the second one to come before us?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay.
Councilman Bitter?
What was
Councilman Crum?
I guess the 060 must have slipped by me. We had discussions before when we set it up so that we didn't have to do the public hearing and stuff before because of the distance. We had to set up so that everybody that goes there to sit and watch the thing wouldn't have to sit in the beer garden. When you do this now, anybody that's there, whether or not they want to have beer or not, no matter how old they are or not, they're gonna have to come through 3 separate entrances to come in and sit down instead of maybe somebody that just wants to come in and sit down and watch and maybe doesn't want to be around alcohol. We're not giving them an option here. They've got to come into the beer garden part. I don't understand why all of a sudden we've decided we need to expand it. We went through other times where we set up a place for them. Those people could be partly in front of the thing, people that wanted to come in and just sit down and be part of the thing, and it would be fine. You wouldn't have to worry about the younger kids being in the beer garden, and this one you do. I just don't understand why we want to make it so that anybody that's gonna be there has to be around the beer if they don't want to be. When we already had a system set up so that we wouldn't have to have a public hearing and we could just take a vote. And they would be able to have their beer garden, it was already etched out where it was supposed to be. I don't understand why we need to expand it.
Councilperson Martin?
Well, a couple things there. The area we put in front of the stage had already made it so that you could take your kids into it. And 2, expanding it, I worked the gate at Party in the 060, and there was people that came in that didn't drink. There was people who went back and got drinks, and there was no complaints about it at all.
I completely understand that too, but there also may be people that just didn't come because they didn't want to be around it. I just see it as a public park, and we should make sure that everybody has a chance to be comfortable. And if you've got somebody that's maybe trying not to drink, or maybe somebody that is an alcoholic and tries to stay away from it or whatever, they don't want to be in that environment. Maybe some people just don't want their kids to be in that environment. And we're not giving them that option. Where before we had an option for both sides. Now you don't give somebody an option. My other question would be, did we notify the school about?
Yeah, that's what was in the memo.
Councilman Benner?
Were there complaints about the previous beer garden area not being large enough? Was there, I guess what I'm saying is, was there something that drove us to make it larger?
Rob, do you have any comment on this from the first Party in 060 there in the smaller size?
Yeah, from our first one at Party in the 060, it was, we'd maxed out the space, and there wasn't enough seating and whatever else. Everybody felt cramped at the first Party in the 060 over there.
And I can speak for last year, and it was the same way with the festival.
Was it like that this year?
Huh?
Was it like that?
We've had complaints about it since we first started having the beer garden at the festival. The space isn't big enough, it's not, the new one, you could take your kids into, but still it wasn't big enough. So, because we used to be up on the hill.
Right.
And then it moved down on one side of the stage,
So you know that.
and yeah.
So I guess that's my feeling is before you could take your kids in if you wanted. But now with this, if you want your kids to be it, you have to go in it. So you don't have the option of not having your kids in it.
So you gotta go through the beer garden to get to
Where
where we usually sit.
Where it is
Yeah.
on this one, the whole thing in front, the whole thing's the beer garden.
Oh, I see that.
So there is
now.
nowhere that you could sit down in front of the stage at all without being in the beer garden part.
Oh. Huh, I don't drink.
So what would council like to do?
Well, I have one question with this, the way this is laid out and everything, is there gonna be any kind of infringement on the big huge tent where they do the bingo?
No,
No, because it'll be on the other side of
It's
the.
on that, okay,
yeah, there's,
It's on the other side of the stage.
okay, that's fine.
And they won't-
We also have the applicant here as well.
Pardon?
We have the applicant here as well. Council, what would you like to do?
I think we did that, we just talked about maybe bringing it back to,
No, we need a motion to do something with the request for the temporary sales permit. Councilperson Parton?
I make a motion, we pass it with what is listed, what is shown.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the temporary special event permit application. Any discussion? Question, please.
Parker?
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ewert,
No.
Benner,
No?
Yes. Oh, sorry, I was jumped the gun. I'm just ready to move along.
Crum,
No.
Thompson.
No.
That was 4-3.
Four,
To go. Two. No.
Noes.
4 noes, 3 yes.
okay. Councilperson Cardon?
Did not.
I have a problem with that because past practices shows that we did it for one, but you're not gonna do it for another now. To me, that is wrong. You either do it across the board, yes, or we don't pick the city's bid party to do it, but then we tell the festival no. I mean, I'm no skin in the game, I'm not in the festival anymore, but I have a problem with that.
Councilman Bitter?
My recollection of this, of the 060, was like Steve recalled. I don't recall us
Yes.
doing that. Okay, if we
Well-
did, we did,
Right,
and
that's
I
why I
don't
said
recall
it's,
it.
I just missed it, because I would have had the same.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
So I'll fess up to, if we made an error in judgment in the past,
Yeah.
then let's correct it and move forward. I don't think in the entirety of the area in front of the stage necessarily needs to be a beer garden. I don't have a problem with having a beer garden or even a large one, but I don't think the entirety of the area needs to be one. I think there should be able to be a compromise made.
So with this failing, Fall Festival's coming up next month.
I'd like to ask if we can go and downsize to what was approved before. If you're not gonna treat us like you did the 060, then I would rather that we still have a beer garden, but off the one that has been approved by the council in the past.
Councilman Crum?
I'll make a motion that we would approve the beer garden as was pre-approved in our other meetings earlier, to be allowed to be put where it was before, same size, same regulations.
As was last year?
Is there a way we can use some common sense and just, so we can increase it, but make sure that there's an area that we can improve?
Well, we know there's an area, we had a pre-approved one a few years ago, and it made so that there was part of the beer garden was in front and it was back a little bit so that people could sit up front without having to be in the beer garden. So it was something that council's already approved in the past.
Okay.
Councilperson Pardon?
I'm still strongly against the fact you did it for 060, but not Haysville Fall Festival. And, party in the 060 better plan on going back to the small beer garden.
I would agree.
Because you're not gonna do it one way for one and one for the other.
We'll fix that mistake, yeah.
All right, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
We did, Thompson seconded.
Any further discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes?
Martin,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next item B, revenue neutral rate public hearing. Got another script to read. I would entertain a motion to open the revenue neutral rate public hearing for the proposed 2023 budget. Councilman Benner?
I make a motion, we open the public hearing for the revenue neutral rate.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
We are now formally open for the revenue neutral rate public hearing on the proposed 2023 budget. Do any members of the audience wish to speak for or against the proposed mill rate? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to close the revenue neutral rate public hearing for the proposed 2023 budget.
Make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
there any, council discussion on the mill rate? And I would entertain a motion on the revenue neutral rate resolution that's in your council packet. Councilman Crowe?
I'll make a motion that we approve a resolution in the city of Haysville, Kansas to levy a property tax rate exceeding the revenue neutral rate.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barton,
Yes.
Garden,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Thompson says yes.
Thompson.
Next we have C, budget public hearing. Consideration of the proposed 2023 budget. We also have another hearing. I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing for the proposed 2023 budget.
Close the other ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Councilman Benner?
I make a motion, we open the public hearing for the proposed 2023 budget.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, we are now formally open to the public, or open the public, we have now formally opened the public hearing on the proposed 2023 budget. Do any members of the audience wish to speak for or against the proposed budget? Will, did you have anything?
I've got 2 emails if you'd like me to read them.
Yes, please.
First email I'm going to read is from Susie Sutton. I would like to thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to share my thoughts and opinions last week at the city council meeting. I understand the difficulties of being part of a leadership team. However, I am sure I do not know the amount of stress each of your decisions can cause, and I do appreciate your taking on this responsibility for our community. Regarding the use of wages for employee retention, excluding the police department, I have been told by many managers and HR specialists that employees do not start looking for another job because of their wage, and by paying these employees more, you are simply paying employees that are not 100% engaged or loyal and will leave eventually anyway, unless you are able to fix the true cause of their dissatisfaction with their job. With this information and my belief that merit increases would result in a more productive workforce versus CPI or COLA increases, I respectfully ask you to not accept the budget as presented and have changes made to the areas of payroll. Thank you for your time and consideration of my point of view. Next email is from Keith Pierce. I know my vote doesn't count, but if it did, I'd vote to give our city employees a raise. COVID relief was a windfall. Real estate revenue is still exceeding expectations. Revenue in general is very healthy. So, number 1, they deserve it. Number 2, we can afford it. Those are all the emails.
Thank you. Well, if there's no other members of the audience wishing to speak on the budget, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing for the proposed 2023 budget.
Make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Barton,
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Council, do you have any questions about the budget? Councilman Crum?
I was just gonna make more of a statement, and I guess maybe it's a question. So, on the raises we put, they don't get a yearly raise unless they have or the step raise unless they have a positive review, correct?
Yeah, step increases are for end of training and for the new year for positive reviews, which we don't do every year.
So it's not a merit review, but they've had to have a positive.
Satisfactory provides
Right.
evaluation.
I just wanted people to know that they just weren't getting a raise just for being on another year. That we do make sure that they're doing the jobs that they're asked. And we have a fantastic staff all the way around, and we need to keep them. And we have long-term employees that stay here all the time. So that one concern is not a concern for me. I love the fact that we'll be able to give them a raise and be more competitive with with that, if there's no other discussion, I'll make a motion that we approve the proposed 2023 budget as presented.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the 2023 proposed budget. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next D, consideration of the revised pay chart and job descriptions. Will?
The pay chart that's in your packet is the same one that we used during the 2023 budget process. And the two job descriptions are basically going back to the two job descriptions we had for city inspector and code enforcement officer before it became one position several years ago. And I would ask that you approve the new pay chart and the job descriptions to be effective on September 18th of this year.
What would council like to do? Councilman Crum?
Curious, is September 18th the beginning of a new pay period?
Yes, it is.
I'll make a motion that we approve the revised pay chart and job descriptions as presented and have those take effect on September 18th, 2022.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Next E, consideration to affiliate Kansas Police and Firemen's Retirement System, KPNF. That's in your packet.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. With the passage of the proposed budget, the next step to move the commissioned police officers over to the Kansas Police and Fire Retirement System, we'll need to have a resolution passed, which is our formal request, from the city of Haysville to transition us to the new system that'll be sent into Capers. This is just the first step in that process, so we're asking for passage of the enclosed resolution that's in your packet.
Councilman Crum?
Chief, just out of curiosity, how long will the whole process take, do you know?
This will be, we have to have everything turned in and completed by December 1st, and this will actually take effect on January 1st of 2023.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the resolution to affiliate with Kansas Police and Firemen Retirement System as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yes. What do you do about your capers? Does that roll over into that?
It'll be, they'll work that out where, yes, it's taken over to the new system there.
So it just rolls right into that?
I'm not exactly sure all the ins and outs of how it rolls and how that works, but yes, it's through the same system. So we'll submit everything to Capers and they'll work out where we're at and who continues from that point forward and that kind of stuff.
Okay, that's the only question I have. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next is F, consideration of agreement with the aging projects, the senior center mills. Councilman Crum,
Is everything on it just like it's been before?
except for the red,
Except for what?
the red, the red writing on
Okay.
the
Okay.
memo.
I make a motion that we go into the agreement with Aging Projects, Inc. Regarding senior center meals as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ewart,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Next, G, consideration of purchase of patrol vehicle. Chief?
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. We did just go through this at the last council meeting, approving a police vehicle for purchase. Unfortunately, that vehicle that we were going to purchase at that time, that order was canceled by Ford. So it is no longer available. We're not available to do that. In going back and trying to find a vehicle that's available or what the best deal would be to try to get a vehicle in a timely manner for a decent price. We have found one locally. Again, it's going to be with the same vendor that we had before, Superior Emergency Vehicles, with a 2022 Dodge Durango police package. We went back and attempted to get 3 bids to make sure that that price was adequate. It was the lowest bid. The third bidder did not submit a bid, so in the end, this bid is only approximately $2,073 more than the vehicle that was approved at the last council meeting. So we're asking for council to allow us to take the money that we were going to use for the vehicle at the last council meeting and just use it to purchase this vehicle instead, with the change in price. So we're asking for permission to purchase a 2022 Dodge Durango police package from Superior Emergency Vehicles in the amount of $38,640.
Council, what would you like to do? Councilman Benner?
I make a motion, we approve the request for the 2022 Dodge Durango police package from Superior Emergency Vehicles in the amount of $38,640.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to purchase a new patrol vehicle. Any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Ewert.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Parton.
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next is H, consideration of agreement with PEC for the D21 design project. Council have any questions or? Councilman Martin?
Is this the beginning stages of the drainage on the west side of?
This is a city property, so this would be the city's portion
Right.
of the D21 project. Yes.
Okay. But that's on the west side of where they're talking about building the houses.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. So there's no other, I make a motion to accept the bid for the D21 design agreement.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the design agreement with PEC as presented. Is there any discussion? Councilman Crum?
In the design, are we gonna talk to him about putting detention ponds in there, so perhaps it'd be good
Yes.
for development later on?
Correct, yes.
Do we know how many ponds we're looking at? Or is that part of the 3?
I believe 3, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Question, please.
Barkley.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Ewert.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Parton.
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Next, we have I, consideration of the agreement with PEC for the Meridian sidewalk design. Councilman Crum?
When we're looking at this design, are we looking at the fact that in the future Meridian could possibly be 3 or 4 lanes? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I make a motion that we approve the agreement for the Meridian sidewalk design as presented with PEC.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agreement with PEC for the Meridian sidewalk design. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Ewert.
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Parton.
Yes.
Crum.
Yes.
Next is J.
Thompson.
Yes.
Reading it. I just can't say it. I'm so sorry.
Need a second.
He's just gonna
Wrong
read.
person tonight.
Next, we have J, consideration of reimbursement agreement with Union Pacific Railroad Company for preliminary engineering services. This is for the, for their portion, for the portion of the sidewalk going north on Seneca,
Sidewalk.
east on
Okay.
63rd Street, over to Mabel.
East.
We're talking about the railroad crossing on 63rd, is that right?
Correct, yes.
So that's what I was trying to,
I'm a little curious as to what exactly they're going to design.
that's what I'm, because there's ditch.
It's,
It's about that wide, right?
Yeah,
It's their portion.
yeah, last time I looked, it was a pretty big ditch,
Well,
it was pretty deep.
I understand it's their property, and I suppose we probably have to do this, but I'm just curious as to what exactly they're gonna design. We're gonna run a sidewalk up to it on the east side, and then we're gonna run a sidewalk up to it on the west side and ride our bikes over the track, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
correct. Councilman Crum?
Okay, because this is for a reimbursement agreement though, does that mean we're paying for it and they're gonna give us? No.
We're reimbursing them for their engineering that they're doing.
So they're gonna do the engineering, we've gotta reimburse that.
Right,
But only for the railroad tracks.
only for the portion that's within their control. Oh, going over
Yeah,
the
so it's not
railroad
just the
tracks to
tracks,
the
it's
sides.
probably what, 12 feet on both sides, 10 feet
Well-
on
That-
both sides?
12 feet?
I'm not sure the distance on either side of the track, but it's their purview. Councilman Benner?
I make a motion, we approve the resolution to reimburse the railroad not to exceed $20,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Councilman Barkley?
Not to exceed how much?
20,000.
20,000. But it says 39.
Oh, it does? I'm sorry, I misread it.
Where'd you see that?
It's 20,000.
It's 20, isn't it?
Oh, it's 20?
Yeah.
Well, then where am I
You're on the
at?
wrong resolution.
I must be. Sorry.
Yes, it is 20, not to exceed 20,000.
I don't even want to give them
I
20,000.
don't either.
Well,
That's why I said.
that's kind of what my question was, is that reasonable?
It's not reasonable, but we're working with the railroad, and they're not gonna let us put a sidewalk on each side coming up to it unless we have them engineer the part that they're in control of. Yeah, it's not reasonable.
What if we just did it anyways and then just left that?
And we're not
They
gonna
got
go to
more
the
money
project
than us.
because the project is the one that we got the federal funding to pay for 70,
Oh, it's
80%
got
of, so it's gotta
federal
meet
They
all
don't even take
requirements.
care of the land. They
I was
just
gonna
dump
say,
it.
we can't get
Okay.
them to mow.
I understand. I got
Never
you.
mind.
We could ask them if the $20,000 would just be used for them to take care of their property in city
To
limits.
mow,
No kidding.
cut down the trees that have been there for the last 50 or 20 years.
So we have motion and a second. Is there any other further discussion?
No
Question, please.
complaint.
Barkley?
Yes.
Barton?
Yes.
Ewart?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Parton?
Yes.
Crum?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes. Next, we have K, consideration of purchasing water meters for new homes. Tony?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have received pricing to purchase 85 water meters and radio transmitters for new home builds and water services. Core Main is the distributor for the census water meters that we utilize. Typically, we buy these on an as-needed basis, but due to the material environment right now, we are needing to forecast these and get them in our hands sooner rather than later. So I'm seeking approval to purchase the water meters and transmitters from Core Main for the total of $28,264.25. And this is a budgeted item, will be paid out of water materials.
Councilman Crum?
When we have new developments come in and we run utilities to them and we have them pay specials and stuff, is this something we should start making sure that we roll into those specials, or is the meter something the city always pays for separate?
So residents pay water tap fees, or anybody pays water tap fees, so for like a 3/4, 5/8 meter is $1,750. And about every 2 years, we price our material out and see if we're recouping at least the cost for the material, and I think we're due next year to do that. But typically, it does cover the cost pretty easily.
So when we get new builds like this, should we have to continue to purchase these, or will those just automatically be purchased and put into their specials, I guess is my question.
So totally separate things.
Totally
So
separate,
they pay
okay.
specials on water mains, sewer mains, paving, and drainage.
So this isn't something that's normally rolled into a special?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
This is basically so you can electronically read the meter, right?
It's where we can actually quantify how much water they use.
Right.
Yeah, but we'll tap, city staff taps the water main, run a service line to a water meter barrel, install the water meter in the setter, and then the private plumber comes and connects the house. And that's what the $1,750 pays for.
So what would council like to do? Councilperson Barton?
I make a motion, we accept the agreement to pay for the meters.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the water meter material as presented. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley?
Yes.
Barton?
Yes.
Ewart?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Parton?
Yes.
Crum?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
All right, next is L, consideration of agreement with Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks Community Fisheries Assistance Program, CFAP grant.
So the city was awarded a grant to install aeration system in 2 fountains at Dorner Park Lake by the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks. The city will contribute 25% of the project costs, which are estimated to be about $34,000 total. Planning to bring back bids for your approval at the October council meeting. Otherwise, I'm seeking approval to execute this agreement with Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks.
Councilperson Parton?
I make a motion, we allow him to execute that agreement with the Department of Wildlife and Parks.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agreement with Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks. Councilman Crum?
Tony, is this one where we have to pay for the whole thing and then the grant will reimburse?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Question, please.
Barclay,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, next is M, consideration of improvements to the sand volleyball pits.
What's wrong?
You have a memo in your packet from Rob. Councilman Crum?
Rob, did the two that did not send in a bid, did they tell us why they didn't send in a bid?
They made no response. Sent 2 or 3 emails and 2 or 3 phone calls.
Only thing I can add to that, anytime we're getting contractor bids, I mean, contractors are busy, and half the time we have to pull teeth and get the calls back. Every contractor is extremely busy.
Okay. Does that price seem reasonable to you, Tony?
Yeah, we kind of compared it when we did the Dorner Park one, that's pretty close.
We're making it higher, is that what we're doing, or?
So we're putting currently there's a big piece of PVC pipe that goes all the way around the sand volleyball pits.
Oh, and that's it.
And so with the sand and with wind and everything else, it's blowing out.
Okay.
How high?
It's 2 foot,
Pardon?
2 feet.
Because it doesn't, I haven't read, it doesn't say 2 feet.
So it'd be just like the one in Dorner Park, right?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
same design as the
Same
one.
design, same,
Yep.
okay.
As one in Durham.
You just have to show.
So what would council like to do? Councilman Crum?
I make a motion that we approve the bid from Brad Murray for $41,900 for the concrete around the volleyball courts.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the, to approve the improvements to the sand volleyball pits. Any discussion? Question, please.
Barclay,
Concrete.
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next we have N, consideration of the concrete slabs for the cornhole.
Just the slabs.
Just the slabs, yes. Councilperson Parton?
Make a motion, we accept the bid for $11,000 from Brad Murray for the cornhole slabs.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the approval for the concrete slabs for the cornhole. Any discussion? Question, please.
Barclay,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ewert,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Parton,
Yes.
Crum,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, next is O. We're running out of the alphabet here. Discussion of Sedgwick County Fire District Number 1 draft resolution. So in your packet is a resolution from the county dealing with Fire District Number 1. We did have a meeting Saturday with the Sedgwick County Association of Cities. Councilman Howell was there. He presented it to us, and there is one change that is going to be looked at. Currently, there are 5 cities that will be given to appoint a member from their city to this commission. One of the things they're looking at is removing one of the at-large members and having somebody from Sedgwick County Association of Cities appoint somebody to be on this district. Then again, this is just a draft, so county has not approved anything yet. So if you do have any recommendations after you look through it, just let Will know. He'll gather them all up and we can give them back to the county.
Could we ask if we can have those by Friday or next Monday? Pick one of those days and so we can have a deadline?
Sure, by next Monday. So by next Monday, after you read through it, just let Will know if you have any concerns or questions about it. we can reach out to the county. All right, next, item 7, department reports, administrative sources, Will.
I have nothing.
B, city clerk, Angie.
Hello. Our next council meeting will actually be on Tuesday, October 11th. Due to Columbus Day holiday, the city offices will be closed on October 10th. If there are any emergencies, please call 529-5912 for water main breaks or major leaks. Thank you.
I thought we were gonna miss my birthday this year.
Change your birthday.
Reschedule.
Next, please, chief.
Need to introduce our visiting officer tonight, Sergeant Grady Germany. He's our third shift supervisor out there. He's been here for several years, you probably know him. Say hi to him as you go by. And the second thing we got is we wanted to remind everybody of the school district's homecoming parade on September 30th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So expect delays for at least a few minutes while we get the parade to scoot down Grand and get out of the way. So again, that's September 30th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll have a short delay out here on the road, but we'll get it out of there as quick as we can. We'll reset. Thanks.
Thank you. Next, Public Works, Tony.
So our mill and overlay project was completed today. We only had one issue area, which was on Park Drive next to Timber Lane. City staff did have to over excavate and do some base repair. Also coming up, beginning the week of September 26th, our slurry seal contractor will be in town. And as a reminder, that project area is Country Lakes and North Timber Lane areas. And also the water meter project install is going pretty well still. To date, we have 805 meters installed. I should say the contractor has 805 meters installed. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Recreation, Rob.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have a gathering at the gazebo on September 24th in the Historic District, a concert by Cody Watson. Our youth basketball registration started today, and the splash pad will close for the season on October 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, item 8, appointments. We have none. Item 9, off agenda citizens to be heard. We have one, Robert Burnett. Please state your name and address.
Robert Cornett, 310 Wire. I'm a second generation Haysvilleite. My parents moved here in 1955. I actually live in the house that they own, so I'm now living in the house that I grew up in. My concern is, since I ride a motorcycle, I belong to BACA, which is Bikers Against Child Abuse. A lot of my concern is the texting and driving and people using their phone and driving. And I noticed a lady on here, she was at 8:25 a.m. She was crossing the crosswalk at the school system, and she, lady come through 35 mile an hour, was an older lady, and she was on her phone, and she I missed the baby carriage within inches. I don't know if we have an ordinance for no texting, or even an ordinance that says we shouldn't be using our phones unless it's connected to Bluetooth. But me riding a motorcycle, I've seen more and more people drift into my lane using their phone, drifting into my lane when they're texting. You know, I use Bluetooth all the time. I use it on my motorcycle and I use it in my car. And I'm 57 years old. If I can do it, I feel like anybody younger than me can do it also. I just think there needs to be more stricter regulations on that. I know Derby's really pushing the texting and driving. That I know of friends of mine over there, even if they're sitting at a stoplight, they're texting, they're pulling them over and giving them a ticket. I have a friend of mine that works at Derby PD, and he said we've been watching it more and more all the time. I would like to see the city of Haysville do more in that area. That's all I have to say.
Good. Thank you. Chief, is there what's the regulation on that?
We do have an ordinance on it. It's probably the same as Derby's ordinance. It's the same one that's in standard traffic offense code.
And I'm not saying you guys aren't doing your job, I'm just saying I
No,
just see
yeah,
it more all the
absolutely.
time.
There's a definite issue with it for sure. So
Yeah.
we'll certainly see if we can add some emphasis to that violation out there.
Yeah, I ride motorcycles too, and I'm definitely watching for people. I mean, almost got hit the other day. Somebody pulled out in front of me.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something you have to, we have to be aware
I
of.
I was seeing a kid go down the sidewalk and I saw a lady on her phone almost run up on the curb and hit the kid,
Oh, yeah.
just on her phone. And it's getting more and more concerning all the time.
It's worse than drunk driving.
Councilman Crum?
As somebody that works a crosswalk every day, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
I yell at people all the time if their windows are down, tell them to put their phone down.
I yelled at a lady the
Half
other day, I
time
was
they're
going down
speeding
Broadway,
through
and
it.
yelled at her on my motorcycle, get off your freaking phone, and she yelled at me back, and I'm like, this is getting stupid. So, thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for staying.
All right, next we have item 10, executive session. We have none scheduled.
Oh, what the heck?
Make one up real fast. I mean,
Item 11, review of expenditures. A, summary of August expenditures. Councilperson Hayward.
I move to receive the files, and receive and file the August expenditures.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file the August expenditures. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley?
Yes.
Barden?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Barton?
Yes.
Crum?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Item 12, consent agenda. We have one item, 8. Councilperson Barton.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barkley?
Yes.
Barden?
Yes.
Stewart?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Barton?
Yes.
Crum?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Item 13, council items. A, council concerns. Councilperson Barton.
Okay, one more time on this, but I went back to the December 13th minutes, and everybody with the exception of DJ, because he wasn't appointed until the 28th, voted to approve the party in the 060 beer garden. Everybody.
Voted.
So,
Councilman Crum.
Not a concern, and Mayor, I talked to you and Tony about this. Since we've taken I just kind of wanted to give council, I guess, to see what they think. When we took the gazebo down at Riggs Park, the little area that it was in, there are about 6 trees in that area, and 3.5 of them are dead. And we've had trouble with blue-green algae in there and everything. I'm wondering what the council would think about trying to get a bid or figure out what we would have to do to see if we could basically dig that entire area out and enlarge the pond at Riggs instead of having the kind of horseshoe thing we got going. Just make it so that it's more round, just completely dig that out. We figured, just looking at it, we thought it was maybe an acre right now, and that may actually make it maybe 2 acres. And if you have a little bit more water, we might not have as much trouble with blue-green algae. It would give more area to fish. That's where we always have our fishing derby anyway. And maybe we could design it in a way so there was more of a sloping side on that one so that it was easier to walk up. We wouldn't have to worry about having the rock up to try to keep from erosion. We could design it so that it was more of a gentle go, and just that area on that side wouldn't have to be like the rest of it. And I don't know if there'd even be grants out there or something else. It's just something that I've thought about, and if we don't have the gazebo there now and a lot of the trees are dead anyway, I don't think it's a real usable part of the park anyway. I mean, there's no real activities up in that area that if that would be something maybe the council would consider maybe looking at, just to enlarge that pond in general. I think it's a good idea, but I also don't know all the ins and outs. The state water thing can say, well, you can't do that because it'll mess up something up with drainage or something. So, I have no idea how much it would cost. I was just wondering what the council would think if maybe we looked into it.
Councilman Barkley?
I don't have anything to say about that. I have something to say about something else.
I wouldn't have any problem with looking into that. It's a real steep point anyway. When the gazebo was there, it was quite steep and not inaccessible, but not easily accessible either. I can't imagine what that would hurt.
Well, and I guess one reason I'm bringing it up now is because they said there was a chance that the park department could think about putting a gazebo in there, and instead of spending money to do that and stuff, if we wanted to look at this, that way maybe they could wait and see, you know, if they decided that digging it out and making it would be too costly, then, you know, maybe we do put a gazebo back up there, but I don't want to see, I guess I see this as an opportunity to check on something.
It is something we can check on, definitely.
Thank you.
Councilman Barkley?
I just had a question. The party in the 060, I've never been to it. Do you have to pay to go to that?
Mm-mm.
No, it's just open to the public? Okay.
Any other concerns, council? Seeing none, we'll move on to letter B, council action and request updates.
Okay, good evening again. So updates on the 7050 Plaza. Property is not in compliance, still has a court date of October 25th. 7106 South Broadway has a trial date set for September 27th. 1126 East Grand and both 1206 East Grand have come into voluntary compliance. Case is considered closed. And then 1306 East Grand, the property has been notified that the dead tree needs to be removed, and city code gives them a deadline of 60 days. They will have until October 8th. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have item 14, adjournment.
I have a question first. How many times are we gonna keep 7106, or are we just gonna keep putting this off and putting it off and go to court, putting it off and go to court, putting it off and go to court?
So maybe Josh can speak to that, but I know they do have to have due process, and once it gets into the court system, we're unable to control that.
It's up to the municipal judge when to set matters for trial. In this case, I know that the defendant has gone through a couple different attorneys, and because of that, the deadline has been extended multiple times before the trial has been set.
So we just keep getting the new attorneys and keep moving it out?
Sounds like a strategy.
To Tony's point, you know, the judge has to, you know, make sure that everyone has time, and then, you know, if anyone has scheduling issues, they try to accommodate those. I can't speak for the judge himself, but I think they try to, you know, move stuff along as fast as they can, but the court systems don't move at the speed I think that we would like sometimes.
Definitely.
So it is going up for, you know, an evidentiary hearing this month, so I think that's a good thing on this matter, so.
All right.
All right, item 14, adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn tonight's meeting. Is there any discussion? Question, please.
Barton?
Yes.
Barton?
Yes.
Ewert?
Yes.
Benner?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Trump?
Yes. Yes.